This is the Realty Classroom Podcast, episode number 73, How to Simplify Your Business. Are you a real estate agent with an entrepreneurial spirit who wants to turn your job into a business without sacrificing your lifestyle, but you just can't seem to find the right plan to help you get there? Then, hey, you're definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Realty Classroom and the host of this podcast. And to help you take immediate action to get started in the right direction, or maybe a better direction if you're already in the business, I've created a free jumpstart course for you over at freeagentgift.com. Get over there because at bare minimum, there's a really important infographic that we use at the Realty Classroom to keep us in the managed mode. In other words, that brain of the manager is the theme of this podcast to make sure you're building and managing a business. You're not just doing it. It just won't work like that. Trust me, I know from personal experience. All right, how to simplify your business. How about that? How to simplify your business. Just an incredibly important topic. And on the tail of doing an episode about you should make your own franchise. Well, that sounded pretty complicated, didn't it? But it's not really. We go back to this whole concept of making burgers. Every business, to a certain extent, is about making something basic. And in our case, it's about making basic relationships in the context of real estate, which then subsequently produces a sale of a property. So how do you go about this? Well, the first step is, what are the simplest common factors in a sale? You have to ask yourself that. And again, I always go back to this concept that I learned reading about Einstein when he was working on the theory of relativity, where he imagined himself. I mean, Einstein was known very much so for his imagination, and he imagined himself riding along a beam of light. And this was how he experimented in his mind, trying to figure out how things work. So I always do the same. If I'm riding along this relationship from the very first point that it begins to where it ends, and really it never does if you do it correctly, because a past client, if done and created correctly, should be around with you forever. And that should be an exciting part of your business growth. But imagine yourself somehow, and probably through marketing, meeting somebody out there and then riding along this beam of light as that relationship gets built. That's all you have to do. You just have to imagine that. So that brings me to the real first hardcore point here, meaning just somewhere to put our feet. You must have conversations about real estate. Now, when I say conversations, I'm going to go as low tech and as simple as possible for you. All right. A low tech, simple conversation happens all the time about real estate. And if you don't believe me, take a beat and just tune in. It's pretty easy to hear people talking about where they live. Well, that has to do with real estate. Whether they rent or own, most people do something with real estate. So it's easy to fall into that conversation. See, I think where the complication comes from in the mind is the confusion that when we do business in real estate, we're always rushing to get somebody to do business with us. And prospects pursued, run away. You've heard me say that before. So if there's potentially somebody who's going to make a real estate move, and we just don't have a conversation in general to start, we tend to go too quickly into it and scare them away or make them uncomfortable that we're trying to sell them. And that's what a lot of you say to me when you come to me for help, or you post somewhere and I reply. I say, look, the whole point is to help somebody because you're a professional with knowledge. Because that's the beginning of the relationship. Remember what I said? Early on, you think about it when you go to buy anything. You go to buy a suit, some shoes, sneakers, a car, whatever it might be. And the bigger it gets, a little bit more nervous you become. But you go back to that beginning and you think to yourself, would you want to be over pursued in the beginning of this process? And the answer is, of course not. And that's why a lot of you come to me and say, well, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not salesy and I'm not pushy. Well, that's the misperception. And that's how you simplify. Stop thinking like that. Just simplify it and ask yourself, am I having conversations about real estate? Yes or no? Now, I'm not going to get into all the venues within which you could put yourself where real estate conversations happen. We've talked about that myriad times because I want you to hear the first word, conversations. That's what I want you to hear. It's the first step. If you're not having conversations every day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year about real estate, that's where you start. You try to increase the volume of those conversations. Now, of course, if you have a lot of conversations about real estate with people, and remember, the best way to converse with somebody is face to face. Whenever you can, go there directly. Don't hide behind texts and emails if you don't have to. Those are tools to help you get face to face. If you can find ways to get face to face with people, then do that sooner than later and converse with them about real estate. Now, as I said, of course, a lot of those conversations are going to reveal that there are many people out there who have some sort of context where they really are thinking about buying or selling real estate soon. That's great news for us, right? Because that's where we can take it to the next piece of that ride along the beam of light, Einstein. Okay, here we've had the conversations. Now what? Now we can begin to make our offer of a deeper level of help, which is what? Follow up regarding property information. Hey, through our conversation, it sounds like inside the next 12 months, and I like that chunk, 12 months and under is a reasonable amount of time within which somebody who's serious makes a decision. Awesome, fantastico, if it's under 6 months, but just try to find people who are really thinking about doing this inside of the next 6 to 12 months, really at the outset. Because if you're beyond that, you're going to need some systems like I have that are a little bit more sophisticated, and I think it overwhelms you. So 6 months and in, your radar should be going right up, antenna right up. 12 months and in, also very exciting to have the ability to follow up with that person. Well, now, so we've said conversations that lead to follow up about property information. What do you mean? And this is, again, where the internet has just scared you all away. You say, well, all these tech companies already do that. Everybody's already getting properties. It's so easy for them to get. I hear this from top producers that I coach. And I say, no, you're missing the point. These people that you're conversing with that have an interest in buying or selling property don't have time. They don't have the time. So what if it's possible to go find what's sold and see what the money's buying or how it affects their asking price? So what? They don't have the time. That's why we need professional guidance. And professional guidance starts with the ability to follow up with people who you've conversed with who are thinking about doing something inside the next 12 months. Make sense? Hello? The logic hammer. Don't you love that? So what do you do with them? Well, you offer them access directly through MLS where they can get properties for sale and, more importantly, that's sold. Sold properties tell a fantastic story. Now, on top of the sold information that goes to them, you are now set up to follow up without being a pest because you're following up on what's micro important to them. What do I mean? Well, if somebody's trying to sell at 123 Main Street, you converse with them, they're inside of 12 months. You say, I'd like to set you up directly to the source of the property information. It's called the MLS, Multiple Listing Service. And I like to send you what comes on the market, what goes pending, but most importantly, what sells. Then from time to time, depending on their timing, that could be monthly, quarterly, whatever it might be, or even more frequently, weekly, bi-weekly. I'd like to follow up with you and tell you what that means for you, how that affects your situation. Oh my gosh. Who doesn't want somebody to personally follow up with them and teach them in a micro way how to protect themselves in a real estate transaction, presuming already that they have context to do something? Come on. That's logic. I very rarely have trouble with people who are motivated who say no to that. I don't know that I can even think of a context because we don't offer it unless we know they're not working with somebody intensely. And also, if they're not inside of 12 months, we'll say, hey, we'll check in with you down the line. If you'd like a copy of our market update, you can get it, or you can jump on our Facebook page, whatever it might be. Now, the next point is as that continues, even though they're early, we always are willing to go out to somebody who's thinking about listing and coach them even in a more micro way. Hey, you know what I'd love to do is I'd love to visit the property and give you some coaching on things like condition. One of the most important things is to get the advice of a professional of what to do and what not to do, more importantly. Don't waste your money thinking you know what the buyers want. We know. We're the professionals. We know what upgrades are necessary, and I would start from the curb appeal in. Right? I get it on digital online, but still people are driving through neighborhoods and man, if they pull up to one and it's the ugly duckling on the outside, let's start to give them some coaching inside and outside, both ways, right? So that they can be ready when their timing is ready. In other words, 12 months sneaks by, 6 months sneaks by. Everybody kicks the can down the road and procrastinates what they're supposed to do to be ready. And in the end, they're guessing. They're guessing at what to do. Nobody's guiding them. Well, I have to do these things. Why? Why? Did you have me over to coach you through what to do and what not to do? So on the other side of it, buyers are often saying, well, I don't want to waste your time. And all the put-offs they give you say, no, I love what I do. I would love to go out, show you 3 or 4 of your favorites so you can get offline and you can see what these things actually look like so that you can make your online search a lot easier. So showing properties is the third point here. Showing them, guiding them, whatever it might be, buyer or seller, you want to get in the property. It's a very physical concept. So let's repeat. Conversations that lead to follow-up regarding property information that leads to getting you into the listing to coach them or showing properties to the buyer. And then the last simple point here is that will lead you to what? Getting the listings, putting them under agreement, showing properties, writing offers that get accepted. And now your whole idea is to close with care. The closing process, as I just went through it myself in my own sale, is stunningly critical as to how you treat these people. I had a 2-week closing after 10 years in the house with 5 kids and gajillions of little nooks and crannies that can hold junk. It was a harrowing experience. But my own partner in the office, Laura, was very good at coordinating with me. All my vendors were very good at coordinating with me. So I was able to close my own deal with care and get the deal done. And everybody was happy. I'm my own happy past client, even though it was hectic. So I need to treat my clients the same way. So I close with care. So let me reiterate these simple points. When you're simplifying your business, just ask yourself, am I having a lot of conversations about real estate? Are those conversations leading to follow-up opportunities regarding property information where I have these people getting auto updates from me, not waiting for some tech company to do it? So what if they're still using that from me? And then is that leading me to get in these listings to coach people to be ready or show buyers properties even if it's early on so they get a feeling for what they like? And then ultimately that will lead to you selling these properties and making sure that you close those sales with care. So you build up this past client community that loves you. And then they repeat and they refer. That's it. Until you give yourself that checklist in simplification, all these concepts about marketing and the internet, it's dizzying. It's dizzying. All of that is certainly helpful. All of that can be part of this, but especially if you're trying to reset yourself, get restarted or start from new, especially all of you, heed this advice. Just start talking about real estate. Don't quit your day job. Okay? Don't. It's harrowing. It's difficult. People don't make this quickly and they won't make it with you quickly. Even if you're a veteran wondering why you've gone flat, it's because we've become so disconnected from the humanity of this building of relationship the right way. And we're chasing people away. And people have become more skeptical than ever before. There's more scam artists on the internet than ever before. Everybody's making promises they can't back up. So slow it down. Simplify it. So let me summarize this key point. Veteran and new agents alike are lost in the complications caused by all this noise of the modern business environment, when in fact the easiest path to success is to stay focused first on these low-tech basics, even if you end up using high-tech to support it. Don't start there. Just start with a low-tech focus on the process. If it was good enough for Einstein, it's good enough for us. All right. Remember, you can take immediate action and get started in a better direction if you've been in the business, or the right direction from the start with a free, simple business plan and an infographic to guide you over at freeagentgift.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so that you don't miss out on any insights each time we upload an episode. We also broadcast our live sales training calls on Facebook and YouTube every Friday at 1 o'clock EDT. I should see more of you there. We're talking real language with these conversations. We'll give it to you. Just have to show up and listen. I know, I scratched my head. So remember to turn on our page and channel notifications for the Realty Classroom so you won't miss the reminders. We'd also appreciate it if you would share our content with other entrepreneurial real estate agents just like you so that they can also get some help. I love to share it. Give it away, please. Thank you for listening. And remember, nobody's coming for you. So go get to work on your business. I'll see you in the next episode.